good folks of YouTube. I know not all of you are fans of conger eels, but let's face it, if you want a big fish off the shore in England or Wales, unless you go up to Scotland where there's skate, you're looking at conger eels and taupe. And taupe ain't here in the winter, and now it's winter, so conger eels are here. That one on the thumbnail there, which I'll chuck up above me now, how big do you think that is? That's got to be 10 feet long. I know they grow to 250 pound. And that one looks a doozy. Now it is in front, well in front of the guys up on top of the quayside, so it looks bigger. But it ain't no small fish, whichever way you look at it. Now, the Welsh boat record is 60 pound from Milford Haven. And if anywhere was tailor-made to produce conger eels, it's the Haven. It's deep, it's got fast currents, lots of bait fish, and in the winter it's packed with bloody whiting and small stuff like that. And there's tons of structure, and that's without all the dock facilities and everything else where you're not allowed to go anywhere near them. So it is basically the perfect home for conger eels. So there's a 60 pounder come out of there, and no doubt other ones have been hooked around that size, and I bet if you had free rein to fish all along the quaysides there, you'd soon find something that sort of size. Now the shore record is 40 pounds. That's off the long arm where I live, and I have had plenty of conger eels down there, but nothing approaching 40 pound, probably 12 or 15 maybe, but sometimes you'd catch 5 or 6 in an evening. We're not allowed to fish there anymore, so you can only fish there if you've got a boat or a kayak. I won't try that out again in the summer, but go for conger eels this time. There's plenty of depth in the actual channel. Well, they don't bring the ships in no more, so they won't be dredging it, but there was at one time at high tide 120 feet. So God knows what's going to happen to it now, because they're not bringing the big ships in, at least at the moment, so it's going to silt up. We'll have to see. Now there's been some decent conger eels caught over the last couple of years all around Aberavon, Swansea, but fish 20 pound, 25. There was the one I hooked and we got it up to the top and we couldn't drag it up the wall down in Porthcawl. We reckon that was 30. It was certainly heavy, big fish, long, probably 4.5 feet long, 5 feet long, somewhere like that. So yeah, it could well be a sandbag, 30 pound. So that's most of the Welsh record there off the shore. And I did find one that was caught, it was caught off a boat down at Barry somewhere, and it broke the scales, so nobody knows how heavy that one was. And from what I can see, nobody actually said what sort of scales they were, whether they were like 50 pound scales or whatever. But anyway, the consensus is that was a good fish. So all along the South Wales coast there are plenty of congers up to mid double figure size, and then odd ones that grow much bigger. So what are your chances of getting that 40 off the shore? I would say pretty good. I've had the closest one I've had to the shore on a boat was 36, and that was off Morver Beach, only a couple 100 metres out, I think, if I remember rightly. I might be wrong. Had a monkfish as well, so that wasn't far away. And conger eels swim quite nicely if they're following the shoals of pinwhite. Fish that size could easily end up on Morver Beach, along the long arm, Scare Rocks, or down towards Porthcawl. There's plenty of rock marks out, just out to sea by a mile or two, plenty of sandbanks, plenty of rock ledges, so they're there. So this is why we're interested in trying to catch one. This is why every time we go out we've got half a mackerel on, or a mackerel head, or live whiting, because they're quite simply the biggest fish you're going to get this time of year. There's no cod left to speak of. The ones I've heard about further up the estuary towards, well, they haven't even been on the Welsh side, they've been across on towards Avonmouth. They've only been 1 to 2 pound. So what are we left with to fish for that's big? Conger eels. So as long as the weather doesn't get absolutely knobbling cold, that's what we're going to go for. And the aim is, of course, to get the biggest ones we can. Now, We had that one night where we had the big one, one small one brought up, two small ones brought up, and another one dropped. And then we've had several nights of absolutely nothing, although we have had occasional little clicky runs of a foot, 6 inches. And on the last trip when we were out in that big storm, Nils had his mackerel head pinched altogether. I mean, that doesn't mean it's a conger eel, but if you stick a hook up through the chin of a mackerel and out through the top of his head, it takes a bit to get it off. So whatever that was, just snipped it off, I should imagine. That points towards conger eel. So that is what we're going to continue going for. But the British boat record is 133 pound. You'd handle that from ashore, I'm not quite sure. But if they're 133 pound, they're definitely going to be 150. And if you go to somewhere like Plymouth, where you've got really deep rock marks, or around the Welsh coast for that matter, one of those big ones approaching 100 pound could be close enough to cast to. Our only other chance of a big fish is to go down to Cornwall and try shore fishing for tuna. And I see one big problem with that. It's a 4.5 hour drive for us, and whatever rock mark we pick doesn't mean they're going to be there on that day. You need to be there for a week or 10 days, fish every day, get a feel for what they're up to and where they are, because the skippers down there have told us numerous times that tuna have been seen within 10 meters of the rocks here, there, in this estuary, this headland, blah blah blah. So they definitely do it, but you need to be there a lot to be on hand. And what the hell are you going to do if you hook a 500 pound tuna off the shore? You're going to need some really fat mates to hold you down, and how much line you're going to need, because that thing's going to take off, you can't chase it. So it's not quite the same as being on the boat with 80 pound gear and ability to chase a fish if needs be, and all the rest of it. So that's my thoughts for the minute, and we will continue with the conger eel quest, as it were, for now, until it gets cold, and then we're going to be left with just whiting and dogfish, and hopefully if the rivers drop we can go for flatfish, and if they do drop we're dying to get out and have a go for grayling, because that's good fun and there's lots of them in the rivers. So stay tuned, subscribe, like, hate, tick us off in the comments, whatever you want to do something. So ta-ta for now, and we'll see you on the next adventure where we catch bugger all. Chin chin.